welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. The Philippines is grappling with a significant hunger crisis, with recent surveys indicating that 27.2% of Filipino families, it's approximately 7.5 million households or 31.8 million individuals, experienced involuntary hunger in March this year. This alarming trend has prompted urgent calls for action from various sectors, including legislators and research organizations. Joining us today on Follow the Money is Assistant Secretary Irene Dumlao, spokesperson for the Department of Social Welfare and Development, to discuss the department's strategies and responses to these pressing concerns. ASEC Irene, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Raine. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Welcome to Follow the Money. Of course, the latest Social Weather Station survey reports the hunger experienced by Filipino families. Are there ways the DSWD is addressing this alarming increase?
Yes, Raine, the Department of Social Welfare and Development is, of course, intensifying the implementation of the Walang Gutom program, the food stamp program of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. In fact, we are now covering around 300,000 households this year, and we intend to cover 750 households who belong to the poor sector. And at the same time, we are also implementing the Walang Gutom Kitchen. That is the kitchen located at Pasay City, wherein we provide hot meals and nutritious foods to families and individuals in street situations, and of course, individuals who are experiencing involuntary hunger. Apart from these initiatives, we also have other programs that aim to address hunger and malnutrition. Like for children enrolled in child development centers and supervised neighborhood plays, we are also implementing the supplementary feeding program, wherein we provide meals and other health and nutrition interventions to children enrolled in these centers. At the same time, we also have our partnership with other government institutions and offices for the enhanced partnership against poverty and hunger. We are in close coordination with other government agencies and the private sector to develop and make sure that the existing programs and services of the national government are effectively implemented with the overall objective, of course, to address malnutrition and hunger.
So, in your evaluations of whether these programs are effective, what is the mechanism for checking these whether these programs are effective? Is it and how often do you do these assessments?
Well, for the Walang Gutom food stamp program, we actually have partnered with a private sector for the conduct of the impact evaluation study. So we hope that the result of this will be released soon, so that we could have evidences that are scientifically provided to determine how the program has addressed and contributed in addressing the problem on hunger and malnutrition. It will be our basis and reference as well in determining how to improve the implementation of the program. In addition to that, of course, we also do, for the implementation of the supplementary feeding program, we do growth and weight monitoring prior to the start of the feeding cycle. This is to ensure that the intervention, specifically the provision of meals to children enrolled in child development centers and supervised neighborhood plays, we're able to address the issues or the specific needs of these children.
ASEC, the last time that the survey had reported that the incidence of hunger in the Philippines went down was August last year. And since then, it's been more than half a year. So it seems that whatever is happening right now may not be as effective as we wish. What do you think might be contributing to the rise in the incidence of hunger at this point?
Well, looking at the result of the survey, we were able to see that the incidence of hunger, of involuntary hunger in Metro Manila, did not significantly increase as compared to other regions of our country. Maybe in Visayas, where the incidence of involuntary hunger is significantly high, of course, we could surmise that one of the reasons maybe is the impact or the result of the Mount Canlaon eruption. There are a lot of factors that affect the incidence or the high incidence of poverty, I mean to say of hunger and malnutrition, and being displaced is one of the reasons most likely that contribute to this. Again, if you compare it to the Metro Manila areas, where we are implementing the Walang Gutom program and we are also implementing the Walang Gutom kitchen, the incidence is relatively high in the other parts of the country. So we could see that the implementation of the programs that I've mentioned are gaining traction in Metro Manila. That is why, as I've said, we are intensifying the implementation of these programs so that we could also significantly address the issues on hunger and malnutrition in other parts of our country as well.
Asek, of course, we understand that the DSWD has ongoing programs, especially in disaster areas, just like Canlaon, as you mentioned. But of course, there's continued monitoring in Canlaon, but do you have continued support in those areas? And in case of any further eruption from the volcano, do you have a system in place to make sure that there will be no hunger in those areas?
That's correct. In areas like the Negros Island region, DSWD continues to provide family food packs to the displaced populations. Aside from the family food packs that we are distributing, the local government unit and the DSWD also have initiated community kitchens wherein the displaced populations and the local government unit are also preparing hot meals for internally displaced persons who are taking temporary shelter in evacuation centers. We continue to assist the local government units and augment their existing resources so that we could continuously provide for the food supplies of the IDPs in that area.
Asek, your program, Walang Gutom, is currently supporting about 300,000 families, if I'm not mistaken. Is there any opportunity to expand that number of people?
That's correct. We're currently serving around 300,000 households, but we intend to cover around 750,000 households. The 750,000 households has been identified as those belonging in the listahanan as belonging to the food poor sector. So we intend to serve this number in the coming years.
Asek, we know that you also, the DSWD also has support not just from the private sector, but also from international lenders and foreign groups, just like the ADB. How much support are you receiving at the moment? Do you see it dwindling, especially with the changing policy in the U.S., especially? We know that, for example, USAID also supports DSWD in your social programs. Do you see that changing in the next few months?
Well, we see no changes in terms of funding support for the DSWD, particularly in the Walang Gutom program. We're working on a loan. Yes, that's currently being finalized. There's no specific support coming from the USAID for the implementation of this program. So we see no changes in terms of funding support for this Walang Gutom program.
But Asek, if it were up to you and looking at the, how much you want to grow the number of families that we support, looking at your target is about 750,000 families, whereas those who are reported being hungry in the past few weeks is 7.5 million. So that means that there's a balance of over 5 million households that remain hungry. So if it were up to you, you wanted to expand the Walang Gutom program, immediately and, at least until the next evaluation period. How much money do we need? How much in resources? How much in support from the private sector, as well as maybe from foreign aid?
Yeah. Again, Walang Gutom program is just one of the interventions of the DSWD to help address hunger and malnutrition. As I've earlier mentioned, there are also other programs and services that the DSWD is implementing. Aside from the supplementary feeding program, we also have the Pantawid Pamilyang Filipino program, wherein we cover more than 4 million households in our country. And this is an investment in human capital, particularly in education and health. Aside from the conditional cash grants that the beneficiaries are receiving, they are also receiving 600 pesos monthly as rice subsidy. So again, this program contributes in addressing the food requirements of the poor households. So you could see that there are, again, other programs and services that help address this problem on hunger and malnutrition. This is just one of those interventions, but there are so many more. That is why the DSWD is in partnership with other government agencies and the private sector in the overall objective of addressing hunger and malnutrition through the enhanced partnership against poverty and hunger.
Right. We know that the Philippines has been cited by some international organizations as a model for the cash transfer program. But also more recently, the Asian Development Bank had also issued a caution that about 30% of the recipients of the Pantawid Pamilya program are not exactly the ideal recipients of this kind of support from government, which means that perhaps that some of these families are receiving it as part of patronage politics. How do you in DSWD avoid politicizing the kind of support that you are providing the communities and making sure that the truly hungry, are receiving that kind of support?
Well, the DSWD makes use of a standardized targeting system in identifying the beneficiaries for our program. Currently, we're using the National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction, or the Listahanan, wherein we identify the poorest of the poor in our country using a statistical model. This information management system identifies who and where the poor are, and using a proxy means test, we are able to ascertain who are eligible to receive aid from our government. Aside from being identified in the Listahanan, for prospective beneficiaries for the 4-piece program need to have children 18 years old below, and or there should be a pregnant woman at the time of the enumeration to enable them to be enrolled in the program. And of course, they must be willing to comply with the specific conditions of the program. So before they are enrolled in the 4-piece program. So there is no political actor there's no political actor that influences the program in terms of targeting our beneficiaries, because there's a statistical model that is currently in place in targeting beneficiaries. The listahanan is likewise used in identifying the beneficiaries for the Walang Gutom program.
It's good to qualify that then. The Department of Agriculture has said there's no shortage in food. In fact, our food supply at the moment is at the best, considering it is the summer season as well, the dry season. But the Avon Foundation has called for a more realistic food poverty threshold, suggesting that it should be at least 90 pesos per person per day to reflect current inflation and spending patterns. Is the DSWD considering adjustments to its aid programs to align with these recommendations?
Well, as I've earlier mentioned, we are waiting for the result of the impact evaluation study on the implementation of the Walang Gutom program. That will be our basis in improving or enhancing our existing program policies. We hope that this will be released really soon, because this will enable us to, recalibrate if our program policies, if needed. Let me mention that we are also using the statistics developed or formulated by the Philippine Statistics Authority, and we are closely working with them to make sure that we have the correct references for the implementation of the program.
All right, we're really looking forward to the results of that impact study. But first, because we need a few reminders, we'll pause for a break. But when we return, we'll discuss the DSWD's initiatives to enhance transparency and effectiveness in aid distribution. Stay on BNC and follow the money. Welcome back to Follow the Money. We're still with DSWD spokesperson, ASEC Irene Dumlao. ASEC, the Walang Gutom 2027 program aims to assist, as you mentioned, the target is 750,000 food poor families. Given the current hunger statistics, are there plans to, again, accelerate it even further? What kind of support do you need at this point? Supposing that you have a lot of private organizations willing to pitch in, what would you like to see happen?
Yes, of course, the target for the Walang Gutom program is, again, at 750,000 food poor households. That is based on the listahanan, or the National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction. So these 750,000 households have been identified based on the proximity test that was conducted in identifying the poorest in our country. And of course, we recognize the partnership that the DSWD has with the private sector. And that is one of the reasons why we came up with the Walang Gutom Kitchen. The Walang Gutom Kitchen provides food to individuals who are experiencing involuntary hunger. Majority of these are families and individuals in street situations. And this initiative does not only address the issue on food insecurity, but it also helps reduce food wastage, because our partners from the private sector, including the hotels, restaurants, and food manufacturers, are donating their food surplus to the Walang Gutom Kitchen, wherein these are being cooked and served to individuals who are experiencing involuntary hunger. So this is the beauty of our partnership with the private sector, because we are able to come up with such initiatives that contribute in addressing the issue.
Mm-hmm. The DSWD has also launched the Kaagapay Donations Portal. Is that still active to facilitate charitable contributions? How is this platform enhanced the linkage between donors and charitable groups, and what impact might it have had on resource mobilization?
That's correct. The DSWD launched its Kaagapay Donations Portal. In fact, we did this last February during the anniversary celebration of the department. In the Kaagapay Donations Portal, we are able to match prospective donors to institutions, including the local government units or the DSWD, and to the partner social welfare and development agencies of the department. This Kaagapay Donations Portal actually creates a welcoming environment for good doers to help the department become force multipliers in addressing various issues affecting our country, especially during disasters or emergencies. So in this Kaagapay Donations Portal, the prospective donors would be able to identify the social welfare and development agencies, which are registered and licensed and accredited by the department and have legitimate public solicitation permits. So the prospective donors are assured that they're working with legitimate organizations with the necessary permits and licenses to operate. So they are assured that the donations that they are providing are coursed through legitimate organizations, and that they can be assured that these donations will reach the intended beneficiaries.
We'll talk about legitimate donors and identifying legitimate recipients. The DSWD has warned unlicensed and unregistered social welfare development agencies. What steps are being taken to ensure compliance and protect beneficiaries from potential exploitation?
Yes, actually one of the objectives for which the Kaagapay Donations Portal was launched was to, again, ensure the public and the prospective donors that they are working with legitimate organizations. As I've earlier mentioned, these organizations, the social welfare and development agencies, have secured the necessary license to operate and have been registered with the department and have secured the necessary public solicitation permit to, again, launch some activities that would allow them to receive donors from our partners. So, again, this has enabled or has created an environment that is welcoming for the prospective donors or the good doers in our country.
Can you kindly give us perhaps a profile of these donors in the Kaagapay Donations Portal?
Yes, like social welfare and development agencies. Well, yes, for donors, we have, during disasters or emergencies, we have donors who provide support in terms of food and non-food items. And when they access the Kaagapay Donations Portal, they could immediately identify or select from the portal who would be their recipients or who would be the beneficiaries of their donations. So if they want to donate or go directly or engage with the local government unit, they could do so by selecting the option of local government unit in the Kaagapay Donations Portal. And immediately our logistics partner would link them so that these donations would immediately be delivered to the local government units. Now, if the donor would like to course through the donations to the social welfare development agencies, they may also do so by selecting that option in the Kaagapay Donations Portal. And these SWADAs have secured the solicitation permit. So you are assured, if you're a donor, that you're working with a legitimate organization. And you could also be assured that the donation will be given to the clients. There are social welfare and development agencies, by the way, which operate some centers or residential care centers for the vulnerable sector, like maybe a sector for abused children. Yes, for women and children. And if there are any donations that you wish to provide so that we could address the specific needs of these sectors, you may do so, as I've earlier explained.
So the Kaagapay donations portal is kind of like a GoFundMe, is that correct? Small time, big time donors doesn't matter, and not just in cash, it's also in kind, is that correct?
That's correct. Any individual organization who wishes to provide donations or support to the SWADAs or local government units or to the DSWD, you may access the Kaagapay donations portal, and the process would be very easy, considering that this is now being done online.
As a final question, perhaps, ASEC, with the upcoming election period, is there a way that DSWD is ensuring that programs like AKAP are not used for political purposes? Are there measures in place to guarantee impartiality in aid distribution? And what if the candidates want to do it for themselves, make donations to wherever they're campaigning?
It is very clear in the guidelines of the Ayuda para sa Kaposang Kita program that the DSWD is the sole implementer of the program. That means that the DSWD will identify the beneficiaries, the DSWD will assess the prospective beneficiaries, and the DSWD will release the assistance to the eligible beneficiaries. It is also very clear that there's an intake sheet that will be used by the DSWD to assess and ascertain, and I really make sure that the individual coming to the department for support is eligible for the program. I'd also like to mention that in the general provisions of the guidelines for the AKAP implementation, it is stated that there should be no politicians or no campaign materials in the venues where we conduct our off-site payouts. And at the same time, there is a grievance redress mechanism that is in place to address specific complaints or issues in the implementation of the program. And this will be immediately addressed by our program personnel at the ground. So with these provisions included in the AKAP guidelines, we could be assured that we have efforts to insulate the program from any forms of political interferences. And again, this program, particularly the guidelines that was formulated for its implementation, was done in coordination with the DOLE and the NEDA. NEDA will be doing, in fact, a monitoring and evaluation study of this program to determine the impact of the services that we are extending through this program.
All right, lots of good and timely reminders right there. And of course, hunger is an issue that's very close to our hearts, and it's clear that collaborative and immediate actions are essential to address the root causes of food insecurity in the country. We hope to have you again as soon as the impact study is out. Thank you so much, Assistant Secretary Irene Dumlao, for providing insights into the DSWD's efforts to combat hunger and support vulnerable Filipinos during these challenging times. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and stay safe. And that is it for today's edition of Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.